hope I come back to where I was just at. I lost my train of thought. Gone through the parts of the brain, got to the prefrontal cortex, and I'm talking about the utter insanity of saying something like, I have a prefrontal cortex. That there's an I in addition and separate from the prefrontal cortex. And yet, the things that we were talking about the process of saying I is a composition of many different systems. The process of understanding, of feeling, of there being a sensation and a memory here of there being an I is a result of many different systems operating in many different ways and overlapping and very complicated. I'm not even going to pretend to understand it. Like, if it isn't clear already, I do not understand all of it. I just have a basic understanding. I could be wrong. I don't know. This is a process of learning for myself as well. So please be kind. And I will change and adjust anything that I may be getting wildly wrong here. So let me know. I have prefrontal cortex. As natural language as language comes, I have a prefrontal cortex. This prefrontal cortex is comprised of different parts, many different cells. And if we look at any one of these regions within the prefrontal cortex, given brain scans, we do not find, there is no singular locus of self. There is no part of the brain under fMRI scans that indicates this is me. There's so much overlap and so much talking between all the different lobes, so much complexity that there is no real way to take a singular part of the brain and say, this is where the self is located. It's not how brains work. Brains are a smattering of neurons and it's compartmentalized, but there is no compartment that's where the self is located. All of these compartments need to be working in tandem to make any of this processing that I'm putting on this camera. All of them need to be working in tandem in order for any of this to be occurring. For me to say the words, I am a self, requires many different things. So the concept of a self then might be the fireworks at the end of all this processing. But to identify with those fireworks, what is identifying with those fireworks? Now we're saying we're kind of getting to the point where this self term is not pointing to territory, it's pointing to something more abstract. The self isn't the singular thing, it appears to be more of a process if we're trying to associate self with matter, with this stuff, this being, and we've gone from left side of the index finger to arm, hair, brain, nose, jaw, motor cortex, prefrontal cortex, and yet I think we've established a self anywhere in there. And yet we still say, I have a body, I am a body, I have a prefrontal cortex, I am a prefrontal cortex, I am a brain. And yet, what gives rise to all that, what gives rise to those fireworks, those abstract ideas, isn't synonymous with those abstract ideas because those are just concepts. Those are just maps. Brain, prefrontal cortex, neuron, action potential, those are concepts. They do not actually relate. They are not synonymous with, sorry, they do relate. I mean, if we agree things can relate, they relate. If we don't agree things relate and we're just trying to understand what reality is independent of human conceptual thought, if we're trying to understand what this is, then we need to understand the distinction between the word toothpick and this. And understand that when we talk about self, we're doing the same thing. We need to understand the distinction between self and okay, so self maybe exists as an abstract concept like chess and baseball. Yeah, that's about it. Don't take this self concept so seriously. It's a bit of a joke. There is no self. Or self exists in the same way that the word toothpick, the concept toothpick, not not is. It exists in the same way that toothpick, chess, and baseball exist. It's a conceptualization of very complicated matter. And that very complicated matter likes to pretend that it's a self. So, do you want to live in the land of concepts or do you want to live in the land of the real? Would you like to take the blue or the red pill, Neo? If you've been following along, well, I hope I've successfully disassociated this concept of self. I hope I successfully disassociated this concept of toothpick with whatever this is. I hope I've now successfully disassociated the concept of self with whatever this is. Yeah. So does self exist in the abstract? Yeah, I think the answer is obviously yes. Does Vader exist in the abstract? Yeah. Darth Vader exists in the abstract. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to ask you questions like, does Vader wear a helmet? That question has an answer. The answer is yes. Does Vader have a red lightsaber? You can answer that question. You implicitly agree that Vader exists. We can qualify it with in the abstract, but I don't think there's too big of a difference. It exists, but not in the way that whatever this is exists. This is separate and distinct from map. Map points to territory, but territory is not implicated by map. Territory produces map. This is territory, and this territory is producing map. This territory is producing abstractions. What the hell is an abstraction, though? What the hell is a concept? What the hell is any of this? What the hell am I talking about? Why am I saying words? And what the hell is going on in your mind? What do I mean, your mind? What the hell is going on in the experience that's arising in this present moment? Why is it arising? Self as an abstraction, a useful tool for referring to sets of squishy matter that ambles around and eats cheeseburgers and stuff. Yeah, I still say things all the time like, I don't think there's a self. And that gets confusing. I confuse myself all the time. I don't think there's a self. I think there's a self in the abstract. Do I identify with that self? And here we are again. And what is it that's aware of this self abstraction? This is insane again. We're just right back into I'm a self, I exist. This isn't the self, but the self exists as an abstraction. That is me. I am that abstraction, that higher layer unassociated with the matter that's producing it. I am that? Okay, well then, what is it that is aware of that I? The matter? I don't know. This is the one abstraction, the singular concepts that I think can't even be made of by abstractions. Because what we're trying to do with this word, with this abstraction, is make it a non-abstraction. Constantly trying to reify this sense that we are here, and I am this, and I am that, and I am trying to identify. I'm not like, where does this idea come from? Where are we getting this? What is this? What do you mean I want to be something? What is it that is? What is there in addition to what already is? What is there that you need to be or do other than what's already present? Why is it that what's already present isn't sufficient and that whatever you are needs to be somewhere else or be doing something else or be somebody else? What's wrong with you want the material conditions of your surroundings to be in a particular way such that the story that you're telling yourself about yourself is a good story, a story that yourself wants to hear? Can we recognize that we're just telling ourselves a story? Back to that weird ass language. Can I tell myself that I don't need to tell myself a story? What is talking to what here? There's nothing here. Nothing like that. There's neurons. There's brain lobes doing its thing. A propagation of energy through matter. Those are real. This is real. Toothpick, though, it's not real. Toothpick is an abstraction, a useful tool for showing you toothpicks, for handing people toothpicks. Will you pass me that toothpick? Give me a toothpick. I would like a toothpick. The toothpicks aren't real, and yet it has real world consequences. So these things are real and not real. They're abstractions. They're concepts. They're maps. Maps of territory. There's this effort to try to make the self more real than what it is, to try to solidify some identity, some story that is fundamentally resistant to being actualized. Because what is actualized isn't story. Symbols. Everything is a symbol. Abstraction. Every word I'm using is a symbol. It's also not a symbol. It's also blah. It's just noise, vibrating air molecules. but it's also a symbol. There's something that's pointed to with these words, such that meaning is acquired. I say the word tree. Something resembling a green leafy thing comes to mind. Tree symbolizes green leafy things. And the attendant concepts that arise in your mind as I say the word tree is the conceptual basis of a tree. Then we go outside and we go look at a green leafy thing and we ask, is that a tree? No, it's not a tree. I don't know what it is, but we're creating a symbol for it, calling it tree. Tree is the symbol. Tree is not whatever it is that we're calling a tree. So then, all of this is symbolic. All this is abstract. The following question is the most important one. What is not symbolic? What is not abstract?